Hi, everyone. This is Lindsay. Just a reminder that you will all be muted for the duration of this presentation. So use the chat or Q&A feature in WebEx to submit any questions or send me an email if you're in the phone-only mode. We'll pause throughout the presentation to get your questions asked, and then try to open the phones at the end of the presentation. And with that, Mike, if you're ready to go, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Lindsay. I take it you can still hear me okay? I came off mute.
Yes, loud and clear.
Excellent. Good afternoon, all. First, let me start off by thanking you all for taking your lunch break to come and listen to me talk about the practice area here at RG. My name is Michael Homendy. I'm the practice manager for our IT Solution Development and Implementation practice area here. So to get started off, table of contents, what we'll be going over today. It's a pretty standard one that everyone's been using. So in the beginning, I'll talk about the practice at a glance and how everybody fell into the various parts of the practice when we took the surveys. Then talk about where the practice is kind of in the market, what's going on out there, and what some future plans are for the practice. Then going over, what we're doing for our customers, where we're supporting them and how we're using various parts of the practice to do that. And then also any internal programs we're working on and a review of the timeline. So the IT Solution Development Implementation's mission is to work with our clients to maximize their technology investments by using the EA methodology to derive their technical needs from their business requirements while trying to establish a comprehensive set of processes that can be used across all their technical projects. Yes, that's a mouthful. Basically what we're trying to do is help a client understand what their technological needs are, and that's being driven not by, hey, I want a new cool shiny toy, but what are the goals of your organization? What are the processes that you're trying to support? What are the roles that you're trying to support? And then after we get a good picture of that and we can start setting up the processes, well, let's get a repeatable industry best practice process established so that you can, start to drive to that quality within your organization. And, when you're doing a requirements effort, let's get you a best practice so that you can hit that mark every time and be generating good requirements for all your efforts every time. I am a Tier 2 practice, so it's me, and I do have some support staff that I can, reach back to, and we have a lot of smart system engineers and architects who work throughout the company who I often lean on to, for advice and help and coming up with solution design and things like that. I am one of Chris's EA COE certified architects, and recently I also became certified to be one of our CMMI team members. So basically I can participate in the audits that we do. And where's the expertise across the organization? We really have 6 components to the practice area: the requirements, the quality assurance, IV&V, custom application development, CM, and then our AOA services. I'm going to hop over to the next slide because there's a bigger breakdown of that over there. It's easier to see. So in my practice area, the majority of the folks out there are out there doing technical requirements, the analysis, the gathering, the creation, the elicitation, that kind of stuff. That was my high, with 64 employees identifying as having done that kind of work. It also happened to be where most of my senior talent is, as you can see there with the 12 people in the 10 range. My goal for next year is to take my average from 26% up to 40. And I'm going to try and do that by, so I think, you can see that we have the requirements well met. We have a lot of the custom application development, CMs down there. I will kind of want to bring some of these, the quality assurance, the IV&Vs, kind of want to bring these bars up to try and get that average up and really create a well-rounded staff. That's kind of my goal, what I'm shooting for there. So, the competitive analysis of the market. When we're out there doing IV&Vs, and we've gotten the opportunity to see a lot of other companies and how they do this kind of work. A lot of the big ones like the Boozes, the CACIs, the SAICs, the Leidoses. A lot of those folks view this as a kind of a staff aug position. They try and put as many people on the project as they can. They're just trying to knock out as much paperwork as they can. Usually when we come in and we start talking to the clients afterwards, the kind of things we hear are, well, yeah, they brought in a lot of people, but they were young. They didn't really know what questions to ask us. You know, they produced a very thick and substantial document, but it didn't really capture what we wanted. They weren't listening to our requirements. So what I try and drive our practice area to be at RG is not so much that staff augmentation, but I want to go back over to the true consulting side, where we really work with the clients. And, you know, when you bring the EA practice into it and you bring what we already do with the requirements in the IV&V, we can really prove to the client of, yes, we're here to help you. We're really listening to your project, your pains, what your goals are, what the processes are that you want to put into place, and then we can really craft the solution for you. We're not there just, we didn't bring in some canned products. We're going to fill in the blanks. We're going to, you know, give you your 2-inch stack of documentation, collect our check, and be on our way. I'm really trying to drive our practice area to be where we're in the true consulting side. We, two humongous pluses and success stories we have were at the courts, where that started out with an analysis of alternatives effort, and it turned into more of a teaching them how to do software development and system engineering effort. And then DOI started out as an IV&V effort and ended up much the same place, where we really sat down and worked with the client and proved our value, and it, you know, it got us a lot of follow-on business. So while there are a lot of big companies out there and they, you know, they do offer these kind of services, I'm trying to make our differentiator that, you know, we will really work with you and we provide that next level of consulting and not are just interested in throwing the next, you know, deliverable over the wall to you. So one of the first things I actually did in my practice area when Chris brought up that we were going to be doing these briefings is I kind of did an IV&V on it, except I took the twist of, am I selling the right thing and am I selling it right? So I started to go out and I tried to look and see, you know, what is the market going to be doing in 2015? And Computer World had actually just done a survey and just done a study about the trends that they saw coming up. I'm not going to read this word for word. I'll just give you the highlights where they did find that IT spending will be increasing this year. A lot of people have been putting stuff on the back burner because the market's down. They haven't had the money. But that's beginning to reach a tipping point because you can only put off some of this work for so long. One of the biggest areas that they're looking at, they're trying to drive down costs, especially in the hardware area. So they're looking at going to the cloud, and they want to look at off-premise kind of solutions. Well, it may have started out as, you know, they are looking at the database area. A lot of them are looking to, you know, try and expand their server footprint without having to buy it themselves and do all of that kind of upkeep. One of the biggest battlegrounds right now is actually the CRM market. You know, for companies like Salesforce, they're really trying to make their mark there. One of the big areas are, and what Computer World has called the SMAC stack, where they're really focusing on the social and the mobile applications, the kind of stuff you have in your hands. The analytics, when it comes to like business, I want to, you know, rack and stack my data and take a look at it new ways to see if there are any trends that I'm missing. Cloud computing. Security has also really come to the forefront because, frankly, these companies are tired of losing all of our personal data. As you guys have probably all seen in the news, so many companies, you know, okay, this company just lost, you know, 2 million records of you know, people's personal data. Companies are getting tired of that. They're getting tired of the negative PR, so they put that at the forefront. The out market, like I said, mobile, that's getting very big. And then upgrades, replacements, that's where they've kind of been neglecting their infrastructure because they've been trying to push that off as long as possible, and it's beginning to really, you know, come to the front. again, back to the cloud. They are predicting a 40% uptick in these services. In the next couple of years, the folks on site, the guys carrying and feeding for a software install, they're looking at that business will be dwindling because everything will be out in the cloud and they won't need to have those folks on premise. And then, like I said before, CRM is right now the huge battleground where there's a lot of, price wars and things like that. The cloud to include, middleware, the application infrastructure, buying of the software, the database, and also the hardware infrastructure in case you want more or less bandwidth, more server space, more database space, that kind of stuff. Any questions so far?
Nothing has come in yet.
Excellent. So from the study, I have 3 graphs that I've pulled. This is the first one, and I'm doing it to try and show some of the trends. So what are they focused on? Why are they spending their money? What do they want to spend their money in this year? They want to optimize their existing investments. These companies have spent a lot of money buying, Oracle and all the modules, or SAP and all the modules, or Salesforce, and they're just not seeing, that they're getting their money's worth. So they want to get better at that. They do want to cut costs. That's kind of what's driving the cloud initiatives where, hey, we're also spending a lot of money on this server backbone, this infrastructure. We're having to do the patches, constantly buy the new memory, hard drives, the upkeep, the maintenance. They want to drive those costs down. And, of course, optimizing and the automation of their business processes. That's where they're hoping to also get more leverage out of their investments. Hey, if I bought this great tool, I shouldn't have to be working harder. This should make my life easier instead. The one that I really find interesting on this graph, and I guess it's because I've worked for a consulting firm for so long, is that they really didn't want to get better acquainted with their customers. I was surprised that was so far down on the graph. I guess it's because, we're either a commoditized entity where we're just names, or they feel like they really know us already. So this next graph is kind of showing down the left, it's okay, these are the types of investments the companies want to look into. And then across the top are, well, why are they doing this? So what I find interesting on this graph, and I just highlighted 4 areas that I hope you see, these are areas that Robin Story already has market presence and past performances in that, legacy system modernization and replacement with the reason of cutting costs. Well, that can either be our custom application development or, our analysis of alternatives can help you, get off your legacy systems. And then, of course, down here, there's application development, upgrades or replacement to generate the new revenue streams and increase the existing ones. Those are the reasons, we have plays there. We have past performances. These are areas we can help in. Business analytics, that's Robert Kearse's practice area with the performance systems. And then, of course, the better security technologies, that's Alma over in cyber security. So 2 areas we're not in yet are the cloud computing areas. And those are very quickly becoming very important to the marketplace. So the last graph shows what's really important to the IT managers out there who took part in this study. They put their #1 thing right now that they're looking at is the cloud computing. Now, when I looked at this graph, I was actually pretty happy because as you start to go through it, you see that, well, for legacy systems with the modernization replacement, Robin Story has placed ourselves quite well with the enterprise architecture practice areas, our business processes, the analysis of alternatives. Security technologies, again, we have the cybersecurity. Application development upgrades or replacements, that again brings the EA, the business processes, the AOA, and our custom application development areas to bear. And then business analytics is the performance support systems. So out of this list, we're, there at the top. We already have solutions and we can really provide value to the market. Software on premises, that's the, hey, I bought this tool, can you send people out to either install it or customize it? That's really in the past not been an area that Rob and Story has wanted to get into. The same with virtualization and disaster recovery and continuity planning, just not two areas that we've really ever chased business in. So that leaves cloud computing up here at the top with 16% of the folks there, that's where their most important investments will be. So after looking at all these studies and reading the reports, and of course that report spawned many other reports, what I came up with is that what I would like to do is to establish our own cloud offering as a part of this practice area. This is not going to be me running to Brad and Chris and asking for like $1 billion to stand up a server farm. I'm focusing more on the, a client comes to one of our analysts, or we see an RFP or RFI out there where somebody said, hey, I'm thinking about going to the cloud. What will this get for me? And then we can take the various things that we've already got stood up where we would then bring the EA in there and go, well, what are your goals in doing this? Okay, so let's make sure that, you have a rational reason for doing this, and it's not just because you read some cool report or saw some good magazine article. How are you going to tie the processes that you're going to take out there? How will that affect your portfolio? How will that affect if you move this system out into the cloud? How will the rest of the systems interact with it? How will that move forward? How will that affect your business? How secure will your data be? How will you address those issues? And again, it gets back to that whole, I want to do the consulting side of this. I want us to be the smart people on their side of the table, helping guide their vision and their path into making these decisions. Right now, most of the companies out there that I've seen are all, it's all just scrapping over, no, come on my hosted solution. No, come on my hosted solution. So I'm not quite sure, and this is where I would like to do some further market research of, well, who's out there actually holding the client's hand, telling them, how to go about doing this, how to make the right decisions. So, the next steps in getting there would be, further research on, are there companies out there doing that kind of work? Do they have, and then, how would we craft a solution that would differentiate us and really make us a better value add? Because, when you look at, and this is just, my initial thoughts on this, we've already got all these pieces in place, and they're all very robust solutions already. So I feel that we can make a pretty strong statement here with coming up with this kind of solution. Any questions so far?
Nothing yet.
Okay, excellent. Okay, so kind of shifting gears to the tools that we use here at RG for the practice area. So for, requirements, gathering analysis, solicitation, that kind of work, Doug's team over there does use heavily the Sparks Enterprise Architect. That's a very powerful tool. Some of us have used it on and off, but his team is definitely the expert on that. In the past, we've used the IBM Doors suite. I'll be honest with you, a majority of our work has happened in Microsoft Excel. A lot of our clients just haven't made the large investments in buying these off-the-shelf tools, so many times we're doing all of our work in Excel. We've done some impressive things there. We've created some RTMs, requirements traceability matrices. We've written macros that actually write requirements themselves. If you fill out just a couple of blanks, it'll then create requirements for you. That was able to actually save us FTE time on a couple of projects. Configuration management. We've used tools such as the Team Foundation server over by Microsoft. Again, Visual Source Safe by Microsoft. We recently used SVN on the Air Force project, ARS development effort, and also on the Air Force side, they've also used PVCS in the past. Issue tracking, again, from the Air Force side and a couple of our other projects, we've recently gotten very good at using HPQC to do the requirements in the issue tracking. We've also stood up issue tracking in SharePoint, and we are also very familiar with using the Bugzilla platform. Now, customer-facing initiatives. I'd first like to send a thank you out to Jessica and her staff because one of the first things she had them do was come up with solution designs where they laid out, what each one of them was doing at their sites and on their projects, and I was able to use that data to kind of compile this list. So as you see here, DMAPS, PDMSS, Ogden, a lot of these sites are doing the complete stack that comes out of the IT area where, you're doing the requirements, you're putting the stuff under configuration management. There's custom application development in there, and of course, when you're doing that kind of work, you get the software quality assurance in there as well. I'm very happy to do this. One of the reasons I rated this as yellow is I want to get better with understanding every place we're doing this out there and getting some of the documents and the artifacts, where possible, that we've produced and getting those put into a asset library so that we can genericize it, make it best practice, and then share it with the rest of the firm for when that next project starts up. They won't have to start from scratch. They'll have that library there. Sales support activities. Usually I get an RFIPQ request for support every other week. Like right now I've got 2 in my bucket that I'm working on. A lot of times I'm either crafting a solution from reading through the requirements of the RFI, or we're trying to get the I call them canned solutions, but like the standard boilerplate write-ups. I've been working with the proposal team to get some of those done, as well as also write up to past performances, and be able to have those available for when we need them for our sales support. Right now, that's typically the kind of support that I've been asked to provide to the sales team. And we've also at the time, we put together those bifolds that you can find out on Synergy about what each one of the offerings brings to play. So, some of the ongoing internal programs. First and foremost, I want to make sure that I can support the Tier 1 teams when they're trying to craft their solutions and when they're trying to go out and win business. I want to make sure that, I can be very responsive to them and help them, win more business, because they're the tip of our spear. They're the guys out there who are getting us new business. Oftentimes help with requirements efforts, both internally and when somebody needs a new system, or when we're doing. I really tie that with the EA architecture efforts. A lot of times we'll be asked to take a look at an RFP or QRI and do one of those kind of shreds on it where we lay out the goals that we can harvest against the requirements. It's actually, I enjoy doing that kind of work. I think it's a very powerful thing, and it really helps us when we're doing that kind of proposal work. Craft a really good solution story. As many of you know, we were recently awarded a Level 2 CMMI credit, and I will be helping James move that forward. So the next steps there, and he'll be having a brown bag in the next couple of weeks where he's really going to kind of lay out what CMMI is and how the process works and how the model works and what it means for the company. So I'm not going to belabor it here, but in short, we're going to take the documents and the processes that we use to get our certification, we're going to bring them in, we're going to put them up in an asset library, we're kind of going to genericize them so that the next time somebody comes down and says, hey, I need a requirements document, or I need to see what a training plan looks like, or I need to see, what a process plan looks like, they'll be able to pull from there and go, okay, well, this is the kind of document that we already have there. They can pull it. If they come up with new ways of doing it, or if they have an enhancement to it, they can then turn around and resubmit it back to us, and we can, kind of keep that library fresh and moving to really drive quality in the efforts that we do. So I'm looking forward to getting those stood up and out there available for everybody moving forward. I'd also like to establish a community of interest. What I'm hoping to do there is much like on that, the customer facing. I'd like to get a group of everybody together to talk about, what are you doing out in the field, what's worked for you, what pitfalls have you had, so we can kind of grow that community where people can learn and reach out to one another. We can build the past performances, we can get documents, together. We can do white papers, really grow that community within RG to get that initial graph of, not everybody's in the 10 range, but maybe we can get some of those bars further to the right by just getting the word out and getting people smarter on what we have to offer and the types of things. And also internal AOAs, as RG grows and we're looking to expand in certain areas or pick up new tools or new product suites, working with the internal staff to really sit down, okay, understand, what are the goals, what are your requirements, let's go out and look at the market and really get our best bang for our buck so we do get a good return on investment moving forward. Okay, so employee development support. And again, my theme, this goes back to my theme of I want to build really strong consultants. And I have two areas I would really want to focus on. I want to look at the cloud, and I want everybody to be able, I want to come up with kind of a standard set of terminology so that, when we're talking with clients, we understand what the various aspects of the cloud are, what types of offerings there are. Are you doing platform as a service, software as a service? Who are the big players out there, like the Amazons or in the CRM world, what can Salesforce offer us? I want to try and build kind of a knowledge base where people can come and look and we kind of have like a corporate stance on it. And then also, again, like I was talking on the previous slide, CMMI for development. Now I'll be working with James on that. And like I said, he's going to be holding a brown bag next couple of weeks to really lay out, what is CMMI? Talk about the process for doing it. Talk about what the models look at. And talk about, okay, now we have these artifacts. Here's where we're going to put them, and here's how you guys can use them. I know that we're also looking at doing a services level audit here, and we'll be identifying the, the projects that we'll be getting the artifacts from for that. And at the end of the day, what I really want to build is, like I said, for those two above and really for the rest of the areas of my practice area, I want everyone to be able to understand the benefits, the various implementation models we have, where the clients have to be to really, take advantage of it, meaning like if you guys really haven't thought through, if you're looking to go to the cloud, but you're just like, well, why are you thinking this? Well, because it's a cool idea. Well, okay, you're not there yet. You kind of need to go back and do some research about what are you hoping to get out of it? What are your goals? What processes are you going to move to it? And then, of course, also be able to talk about, okay, now here are the risks you're looking at, and here are the mitigations to those risks. Again, the end goal is to build, the knowledgeable staff who can be that trusted advisor to the clients, because that's how we win, more business. When we have proven to our clients that, man, those RG folks are the smart guys, that's how we get the follow-on work and the wins. So that's what I'm really trying to grow there. Not the EA practice performance timeline. This would be my practice timeline. This is the notional one that I put up there. And it's basically to draw lines in the sand for myself. As you see, right now we're doing the practice area brief now. We've got a quarterly status report due out in the beginning of July, but before that status report, I really want to have an understanding of the marketplace for the cloud. Like, what are companies out there doing? That's where I'm going to try and draw the line of, is there a play for us in the cloud marketplace, or is the market oversaturated? Then maybe we just fall back to providing, as part of my practice, we just provide education on, what's out there for the cloud. Also, as I said, I'll be working with James, and I put the CMMI ones out here kind of just to put a pin in it for me, to keep it on my radar to make sure that, I don't keep pushing it down and pushing it down. Again, I want to get the library up and running so that we can take the artifacts that we use and put them up there so that other folks can benefit from using them. And then further down the road, kind of get that, up and running and have people understand where it is and how to use it. We'll be giving brown bags. Those are still to be identified. I'm going to see, what comes out of the cloud stuff and, to bring maybe the software quality assurance and some of those. I might be doing some brown bags on those to talk about our offerings and what we can do. And then, of course, in October, I'll be doing another State of the Practice briefing where hopefully I'll have wonderful things to say about the stuff that we've learned and where you guys can go to get these documents in these libraries. So, risks. Getting the word out in the marketplace. So I need to work closer with our BD staff and marketing to produce the marketing materials so that, I don't just have, like a Word document paragraph. I want to be able to provide those materials so that, when they go out in sales calls or when the Tier 1 folks need them, they're available and ready to go. I also want to get our thought leadership, get word out there in the marketplace of, hey, RG, knows what they're talking about, and here's why. Here's a great white paper they wrote, or here's a great blog entry that they have. Create a compelling offering for the cloud. I do want to go out there, check to see what the clients are they happy with how they're getting their cloud stuff stood up? Are there small companies out there that are already doing all that hand-holding and that getting them to that solution? My initial research showed that no, it's just pretty much the cloud company coming in going, trust me, come and install your stuff here, and then, they sign the contract, and then all the real fun and pain begin because they really haven't thought it through yet. I'm going to work on that. And then, of course, scale past performances. And this is where that ties back to I really want to sit down and have that community of interest so we can get some of the great work that everybody's currently doing written up, because some of the stuff that we have that's from the past is getting a little old to be using in our proposals and whatnot. So with that,
Mike, I had a question come through.
Sure.
What do I need to do to obtain training for cloud database management systems?
I will take a note down for that, and as part of our offerings, that will be part of the moving forward. Here's what's out there. Here are the companies that provide it. I'm hoping to have that as part of the package. Like I said, I don't have a firm answer for that research yet because I've just started doing that research, but I'll make sure that internal training is a part of it.
Okay, thanks.
Mm-hmm. Risks was my last slide, so if you want to open the floor for anyone else.
Sure. Everybody, I'm going to take you off mute, so if you can please mute your own phone to minimize any background noise so we can get some questions over the phone. If I unmute you and it's loud, I'm just going to mute you again. Okay, the lines are open if anybody has a question.
All right.
All right. Okay. Well, Mike, thanks so much. And thanks, everyone that participated today.
Thank you all. I will give you the rest of your time back, and I hope you all have a wonderful day.
All right, great. Thanks. Bye-bye.